I'd like to welcome you here. Pam is running for National Committeewoman. She is not running unopposed. She's running against Juliana Bergeron, who actually was our speaker, I think, last month. So this is a contested election. So please give Pam your undivided attention to hear what she has to say and why she feels she's the best candidate.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here. My name is Pam Tucker, and I am running for National Committeewoman. And I'm running because I think I can be the best face and the best representative for New Hampshire in the National Committee job, and I can really help our state. I first want to ask you or tell you a little bit about what National Committeewoman does. National Committeewoman is one of 3 faces of New Hampshire that goes to the RNC on the national level. And I'm part of the National Committee Man, the National Committee Woman, and the State Chair. And we're the 3 that represents New Hampshire to the rest of the nation. And every state has those 3, as well as some of our territories, like Guam and the islands and the like. So there's 168 members of the National GOP, or the RNC, that I would be a part of. I feel I can do that job, and I'll explain that in a little bit about my experience. But I want to talk about what the role of the National Committeewoman does. First and foremost, we protect the first in the nation primary. And I say protect and promote. I don't say defend, because there's ways to approach things. And when we talk to other representatives and other people in other states, and I've had the opportunity to do that, they ask me, you're little old New Hampshire, why do you get to have the first in the nation primary? Well, of course, it's our state law, we know that. But more importantly, if we explain to them the importance and what we provide them in terms of a benefit of having the first in the nation. We're small geographically. We're not that large. I mean, everyone thinks, oh my goodness, going up to Coos County, it's 4 hours away. Believe me, when you live out in Nebraska, 4 hours is nothing. I think about California. But also, we're very small geographically. We also only have 1.3 million people in this state. And of those 1.3 million people, we are the most active people of any other state. And when I say most active, it's not just Republicans. We're all Republicans in this room, but a lot of us also belong or know of other groups. We have the 9/12 groups. We have the homeschooling groups. We have the education groups. Let's not forget our liberty groups, our gun groups, our tax groups. Need I go on? We have a lot of groups out there that support us. And part of being a National Committeewoman is reaching all of them. But those are the people who are involved. And when they're involved, they're the ones who are going and they're vetting the candidates for us. They're the ones asking the questions. It's not just us in this room who are all activists. It's those people too. And so when we tell the other states, yeah, we've met those candidates 4 times. And when we vote, we really know what we're voting for. We're not voting on a 10-second or 30-second soundbite or a commercial. We're voting because we know that candidate's values. And that is a benefit that we are providing to the rest of the country. And what's interesting is when you explain that to other states, they're like, oh wow, you really do a lot. And they realize that they can't do it because they're too big or the people aren't involved. So when they see the benefit, we get them on board and we can start building coalitions and therefore protect our first in the nation. Another thing that the National Committeewoman does is she defends our platform, even the most difficult parts of it. And I have a voting record. You can look it up online. It's a testament to our platform. My voting record is very consistent with what our platform stands for. And one of the last thing, and probably the most encompassing because it encompasses the last 2 pieces, is we are a liaison. We're a liaison up to the national level, one of those 168 people, but we're also who brings the message back down to the local level. And again, here at county meetings, but also to all of the other groups as well. The communication needs to go both ways. It can't be just the national party telling the state party telling you what to do, but it has to be on the grassroots level where we're all working to get our local selectmen, our local school boards, those people, what are the issues facing us? Take that back up and let the rest of the country know what the issues we are facing, be it what the Democrats are saying about us or policy issues. But I'm trying not to get into policy on this, because I do that all day long. So those are the 3 basic things that we do, and again, it's all encompassing. And my experience and my background certainly fit and suit that position well. I've been involved in Republican politics since I was 14 years of age, and it's been quite a ride. I started out in Michigan, where we could hold signs and also hand out all kinds of fun stuff like matchbooks and nail files for people with candidates' names on them. I got involved there. I went to college at a very conservative college in Midland, Michigan, and any of you from Michigan, it's about right there, right in the middle of the state. And it really solidified what my conservative values are. In fact, one of the books we read in philosophy was called When We Are Free. And if that title doesn't tell you about what liberty is and about what the U.S. is about, nothing will. And that's what this college was based on. It's not as conservative as Hillsdale's, or probably isn't as notorious as Hillsdale's, but it's a pretty conservative college. From there, I graduated, had to pay back my student loans, so I took a job in upstate New York, and I worked there, and of course I found the Republican Party. I don't know how it happens, but I managed to find it. Got involved locally supporting, volunteering, doing mailings and going door to door. And I actually found out I kind of like going door to door. From there, my job took me out to California. I lived in California for 2.5 years, and I got involved in the Republican Party out there. In fact, after a year out there, I got involved with the Ventura County Young Republicans and became vice president. I tell you what, California does have a good Republican Party, and it's fun out there. We can register voters anywhere, so it's not like here. So you go to malls, you go out in front of post office, you go to parades. It's a lot of fun. We registered voters everywhere. You can recall people out there too. So we went out and we went door to door trying to recall people as well. It was a lot of fun to really be involved out there. But my job, I worked for the Gillette Company, brought me back to Boston, which actually I really wanted to end up on the seacoast, and in fact, New Hampshire to be specific. I'd come out here in college, I saw what New Hampshire was about, fell in love with our motto, live free or die, and said this is where I want to end up. And so I took the job with Gillette knowing they were based in Boston, and I could eventually get back there. Lo and behold, the master plan worked. And so I took the job, I came back, worked in Boston for a couple years, and then I quit work because I needed to get married, buy a house, and start my family, in which I did. But in 2008, I saw where the state was going, because if you remember in 2006, the Democrats took over the House. And of course, Governor Lynch was already in there. And so I was involved in my local Republican committee in Greenland, and we were looking around for a candidate. Of course, I've always been a volunteer and loved to always volunteer, do the backroom stuff. But as I looked around, I realized I had to look in the mirror to find the right candidate for the job. And as scary as it was at the time, I stepped up to the plate and I ran for office. And I ran against a very well-known incumbent who was on Ways and Means. For those of you in the House, it's a pretty powerful position, and well-known and well-funded. And I was one of 17 freshman Republicans, along with Elaine, that year to go into the House. And so we did increase the number of Republicans in the House in 2008, believe it or not, in the year of Obama. From there, I got involved in the state party, involved in the House Republican Alliance, which is a policy group that helps formulate how we should vote on votes, became the whip on my committee that I was on. And in 2010, I became co-chair of the HRA. And in that leadership role, I helped recruit candidates. In fact, I made a lot of phone calls around the state in conjunction with the state party to try and find people similar to what Bob Meade is doing right now. Who can we get to run for these offices? Because we wanted a full slate in 2010. We also worked on candidate training. We also did what's called legislative summits, where we met with outside leaders in the industries, be it education or taxes and businesses, different groups, to find out what type of legislation can we do that's going to help you and make the state better, because we want to make the state business friendly. We want to have that New Hampshire advantage. And so we worked with them to craft legislation that's going to help them. Well, we know what happened in 2010. We did win the House back, and we won the Senate by great margins. Still didn't win the corner office, but we're going to do that yet this year, aren't we? Mm-hmm. And with that, I did help Speaker O'Brien become the Speaker of the House, and I was very honored when he called me one day and asked me to be Deputy Speaker shortly after his election. Honest to goodness, I was shocked. I had never considered that. I always thought I was going to go back to my little old committee and be back on the HRA. But I felt I was ready to step up to the position and take on that leadership role. And I tell you what, I'm very proud of what we've done in the House. I I'm very proud of the budget we've passed. We actually did what we said we were going to do as legislators. We actually made government effective and efficient. And that hasn't been done in quite a few years, and under Speaker O'Brien, we did it. We've also passed a constitutional amendment, but now I'm starting to get a little bit on policy. But nevertheless, we did live up to our obligations and our campaign promises. In the House as Deputy Speaker, I get to do a lot of fun things, mostly the stuff that Speaker O'Brien doesn't want to do. But I get to do fun things like parking. I get to work with individuals on a one-on-one basis. And I tell you what, that's the best part of the job, is working with them. And people can come to me. My door is always open. If you're ever up in the State House, you can walk right in. Bob knows that. You can just walk on in. And I'll be willing to talk to you, be it about a policy issue, be it about a personal issue, or be it about a conflict. Anything I can do to help you and to help us as a party grow, that's what I want to do. And part of being Deputy Speaker means that sometimes the committee doesn't see your bill the same way you see your bill. And so we need to work together to get the right answer to some of those bills. I've also been involved in the fundraising that we do, because fundraising is very important. In the New Hampshire House Republican Victory PAC, we are on our way to raising a record amount of money to spend on every single House race here, because we want to elect a majority of Republicans again in the State House, as well as the Senate, and of course the corner office. But I'm focused right now in the State House. But I feel if I become your National Committeewoman, I can take all of these skills that I've learned in the House, and I can apply them not just to the State House and the state races, but the state overall, and help everybody in every race, and help promote and recruit candidates on every single level. So I think if you take a look at my past experience, the commitment that I've given to this job and all of the previous things I've done for the Republican Party, you'll see that I am the best candidate for this job, and I hope I can have your support for National Committeewoman on April 14th. Thanks so much.
GOP TV.